Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. Once you hear that beautiful music, you know it is On The Mark. Good evening to you. This is Mark Brantley, host of On The Mark, and I'm here this evening. We hope for the hours of between the hours of 8 and 10 p.m., 2 hours of commercial-free talk radio to engage, as always, with you in a conversation. Good evening to the beautiful people of Nevis, those in all the 5 parishes. Good evening to those in St. Kitts as well, those who are listening throughout the Caribbean. Good evening to our friends and family in the United States and Canada, those in the United Kingdom, those in Taiwan, wherever you are. Good evening to you, and welcome to another edition of On The Mark. We are here every Wednesday from 8 to 10. Either me, I come, or of course other hosts come from time to time. I want to thank the Honorable Eric Evil and the Honorable Troy Leiber, the Honorable Alexis Jeffers. Those tend to be the main hosts who come, but I'm sure as time goes on we'll see more people coming as well to the fore and being a part of this show. This show has become quite an institution here in St. Kitts and Nevis and the wider region, because I sometimes get calls from people in other islands who say that they tune in regularly to VON Radio, which of course we know is the Eastern Caribbean's only powerhouse. VON Radio, Voice of Nevis, 860 on your AM dial, www.vonradio.com. And of course, they're also streaming live on Facebook and on YouTube. Very happy to be here with you tonight. I start the evening with a high note. I got a beautiful voice note this evening from my very good friend Fitz Alder there in Bath Village. He said, listen, when you go on tonight, Mr. Brantley, please, could you send birthday greetings to my granddaughter Tiffany Brown. Tiffany is from Upper Monkey Hill. And Tiffany, birthday greetings are coming to you from your granddad, Fitzalder, in Bath Village, but also, of course, from your mom, Naomi, and all of your aunts, uncles, and your extended family. All of us are sending you birthday greetings, Tiffany Brown of Upper Monkey Hill, from your granddad, Fitzalder, your mom, Naomi, and the entire family. But while I am wishing happy birthday, let me also wish happy birthday to Fitz himself. My good friend Fitzalder, he's going to be 60 years old, celebrating on the 29th of January. I believe that's Saturday. And he is going to be 60. A big age, Fitz. I hope you have a wonderful time, brother. I wish you many more birthdays, lots of years of good health and happiness. Mr. Fitzalder, happy birthday to you when it comes on Saturday. And happy birthday to Tiffany, your granddaughter, who celebrates today. It has been a good day today. I wasn't out and about as I would like. I wasn't 100%, but sometimes you just need a little rest. And I have to remind myself that at my age, I need to rest as much as possible, especially as we know we have a lot of work to do, and we have a big year this year, we hope, coming on the heels of this pandemic that we have been suffering from. We're still in the throes of the pandemic. I would want to express, of course, my regards and well wishes to those who are, even as we speak, suffering from COVID-19, and also to extend my condolences to all those who would have lost loved ones, not only to COVID-19, but certainly those who would have lost loved ones to any form of illness. As I remember those who would have lost loved ones, let me extend again condolences to my dear friend Anthony Lewis Zanke and his entire family, the Lewis clan. They would of course have lost the patriarch of the family, Mitch Lewis, who passed away some weeks ago, but who there was a memorial service today for Mitch in the heart of Brownhill. I could not attend, but certainly I would have sent my own expressions of condolences to the family, and my wife was able to attend on my behalf. And so, Zanke, if you're listening, to you and the entire Lewis clan, I want to extend condolences again on the passing of Mitch. While I am in Brownhill, let me also extend condolences to Mrs. Brown, known to all of us as Finey, who passed away, and of course she leaves to mourn her husband, known again to all of us as Brownie, affectionately known to us as Brownie, and her children. Let me specifically, in the context of of her children. Remember Marva and Bunny, who are here with us, and of course the other children who are abroad as well. I just want them to know that they're in our prayers, and we extend our deepest condolences to them and to the entire family. For anyone else who has lost loved ones, please accept my condolences. I often try at the top of the show to extend these greetings to us, because we are a small community, and when anyone suffers, we all suffer. Equally, when anyone rejoices, we all rejoice. And so I usually try to do that, but oftentimes if I don't, it's because I do not get the information on time. But let me again join with the multitude in extending condolences to the Brown family in Brown Hill, and also to Zanke and the Lewis family there in Brown Hill as well, and for their loss. And I certainly want them to know that they're in our prayers, and as I like to say here on the Mark, may the prayers of the multitude comfort them in their hour of bereavement. One thing I know, and I believe I've lived long enough to know, and that is that it gets easier with time. That time is the great healer. And so oftentimes, even though we can't imagine the pain, it does get easier with time. It doesn't disappear, but it gets easier. And so let time heal you, let prayer heal you, and let the love of those close to you continue to envelop you and heal you as you move forward. So my condolences from all of us here at Von Radio. Ladies and gentlemen, quite a bit has been happening. I would want to commend the Honorable Alexis Jeffers, our Deputy Premier. He hosted the 4th edition of the Agenda 2022 this time for agriculture, setting out the plans and programs for agriculture. I think it's a brilliant idea that he has initiated. The 4th edition of it was held at the Malcolm Gishard Memorial Park, and that was convened on Tuesday, where stakeholders in agriculture came together to plot the way forward. I was particularly pleased that he was able to bring, of course, Bishop Ron Collins, the Permanent Secretary in Agriculture in St. Kitts, and of course Huey Sargent, the Permanent Secretary of Agriculture here in Nevis, and put them together, and they were there to give remarks. I was also pleased that I was able to give some remarks. Everybody knows agriculture is near and dear to me, and as I made it clear there, you cannot say you're truly independent unless you can feed yourself. And all of us need food. So it is, I think, only common sense for us to try to grow more of what we eat. And certainly I have been very impressed with the work that has been done by the minister and his team. His entire team. I think about all the members of his team and all that they've done. Huey Sargent has led with distinction. Randy Elliott has led with distinction. We have other members of the team who are there, who are doing really great work. Really great work, and I would want to commend them all, whether they're in the area of fisheries or animal husbandry, or they're in the area of crops. They've really done well. When we look at someone like Gary Griffin and what he has done at the abattoir, I was very impressed to learn, for example, that now you can get a rotisserie chicken, local chicken, smoked at the abattoir. We have, of course, our well-known ground beef, organic ground beef. There's so many products that are being produced, choice cuts of meat, bacon. At Christmas, we had Christmas hams, all local, all produced here, and that has been due to the genius of Gary Griffin and his team there at the abattoir. So we have been really, I think, expanding the range of agriculture, expanding what we're doing. We have added, of course, technology in terms of hydroponics and shade house technology, and a lot of younger people are now getting involved in agriculture as well, and doing their part to contribute to food security and contribute to the economic advancement that agriculture can provide. And so I want to commend all who are involved. People like Banky come to mind. Ronald King, let me address him properly, who is the man who is leading the effort at Indian Castle, where we have now a 35-acre fruit farm. I want especially our nationals abroad to consider 35 acres on the fruits, and that, I think, is an incredible initiative. We have, I am told, been reaping things like sorrel. There's been a lot of peas, I'm told, being reaped as well, pigeon peas in particular. And what I think was very instructive is that we've planted somewhere in the region of about 5,000 coconut palms. Everybody now is buying coconut water. Everybody is drinking coconut water. And the truth is that this disease that we got somehow into the island, lethal yellowing, that disease has really destroyed our coconut palms. Well, coconut water is now a big thing here, and we see roadside vendors popping up selling coconut water. And so what has happened is the government is responding, and we're inviting others to respond as well. And I thought that the Honorable Alexis Jeffers had an incredible initiative where he got coconut palms from Guyana and has planted them out. And so we have close to 5,000, I'm told, that are planted in Indian Castle. And that whole project is being managed excellently by Mr. Ronald King, known to all as Banky. We are also, of course, making a huge push now into poultry production, and I am very, very excited about that and about the prospects that this year, not next year, this year, we should have chicken here in abundance produced right here in Nevis. And I believe that would be a wonderful thing. As I commented at the Agenda 2022, it is a matter of some interest. Let me use that word, a neutral term. A matter of some interest that, notwithstanding we are an island surrounded by ocean, and therefore we have a strong tradition of fishing, that the most popular meat kind in St. Kitts and Nevis is chicken. Some may say because it's the cheapest meat kind, but it is the most popular, chicken. Everybody eats chicken. Chicken is done in all kinds of ways. We have the barbecue chicken. We have Sandy's fried chicken, quite famous. We have chicken everywhere. Kentucky fried chicken everywhere. And the irony is that we ourselves are not producing chicken parts in anywhere near numbers that can sustain St. Kitts and Nevis. And so we have highlighted that as one area that we think we can expand on. We have procured persons of interest, local investors and foreign investors, who are saying they're very keenly interested. And I would want those out there whom we have been talking to and who have been having a conversation with the Minister and with the Department and Ministry of Agriculture to know that we are working on this to make this a reality for the island of Nevis, to be sure, but the wider Federation as well. And what a wonderful day it would be for us to be able to eat locally produced organic chicken, as opposed to things that we keep importing. And I made the point again that we have no idea what is in this food that we are importing. Whether the meat that's coming in, the chicken that's coming in, has hormones injected, we have no idea. Whether it has been sprayed with chemicals to make it to give it an appearance of freshness, we have no idea. And the truth is that our people now are being afflicted with all kinds of disease, and we don't know sometimes the origins of the toxins that are going into our bodies. At least we know that when we eat local, we're eating food that is grown right here in our soil, grown with a minimum of pesticides or any type of additives, and food that is grown in large measure organically. It is good food, and you know they say that if you eat quality food, then it reduces the need for you to need medicine. As they say, food should be your medicine and medicine should be your food. And so we look forward certainly to that day, and I believe we're well on the road, but we look forward to that day when we could say that in certain food crops and in certain food types that the island of Nevis and the wider Federation as well is self-sustainable. And I believe that it was a brilliant idea to twin agriculture in Nevis with agriculture in St. Kitts, and to give this dynamo, Alexis Jeffers, the reins, because look at what he has done in Bayford. Within a few months of him being Minister of Agriculture in St. Kitts, Bayford was back in swing in St. Kitts. Some days had been shut down. So the truth is, he has already demonstrated what he can do even during this COVID-19 pandemic. And I would want to commend him, commend his vision, and commend the entire team around him, because they have all been performing with great efficacy and all been performing for the benefit of the people of our island and our country. So kudos to them for that. We saw a few cruise ships in, and I was sent some photos of Pinnis Beach. I would want to commend people like Randy Jeffers and others on the beach who have been benefiting. And I like that. I like when I hear that our people are benefiting, because we know too well that when things get tough, that many of them take to the airwaves and take to social media to complain. And that is understandable. I always say I don't get offended when people complain, because sometimes if the shoe is squeezing and you don't ball out, then people wouldn't know. So I understand that. But it will also be nice sometimes when things are good for the perennial complainers also to come and say, boy, things are good. It would at least give a little balance. But maybe I'm asking for too much. I would just like to commend them all for their efforts and for the fact that they are right now in the teeth of the season, and they appear, based on the numbers, to be benefiting. And I say congratulations to them. And of course, tourism continues to be the lifeblood of the economy here, and the spillover for tourism continues to be significant in terms of food, restaurants, bars, in terms of transportation, those with the taxi operators, the tour guides, the tour operators, the hotels, of course, and the farmers as well, and the fishers. It all benefits us. Tourism, as we like to say, is everybody's business. On that note, let us continue to keep the island clean. Let us continue to resist the temptation to dump containers from our cars as we drive. I have really wondered what has become of us as a people, because I have had so many complaints of people who are saying that they're cleaning up the sides of the roads. They're finding these styrofoam containers, sometimes in plastic bags, with food, ends of food in them. And the suggestion is that it seems that some people are driving in their cars and just dash it out the window. Now, if you eat your food in your container, you have your takeaway food, why would you throw it out of the window? Why not secure it and put it in any of the trash receptacles that we have all around the island? Or take it home and dispose of it in your own trash receptacle at home. Keeping this island clean is important for all of us. A clean island is a healthy island. It means we don't have any space for rodents and various roaches and mosquitoes and various vectors to grow and to multiply. It means we can avoid diseases such as dengue and chikungunya and all of those diseases. We can avoid infestation of rats and mice. It is important that we keep the island clean. And so I challenge each and every one of us to do better, because these are things where a lot of people say, oh, it's the government. And I keep telling you, who's the government? Who's the government? We have 5 seats in Nevis. 4 are currently held by the Concerned Citizens Movement. We have 2 nominated members. That's 6. And we have a legal advisor and a cabinet secretary. So we have 8 people sitting in the cabinet. Are they the government? And can 8 people alone manage the entire island of Nevis and have eyes and ears everywhere, so that when somebody disposes of a styrofoam container or flings the can or the beer bottle out of their window as they drive, that the premier is right there on the spot to say, pick that up? It's like crime. Everybody said the police need to do more. But the police can't be in every street corner. They can't be in every village. You need to do more. I need to do more. We need to do more. Because ultimately, this is our island. Too often I find our people disassociate themselves from a problem that is somebody else's problem. Let the government go and do that. For example, sometimes we see a situation where in a particular locale there may be trash on the road. We have, of course, a problem with donkeys. The donkeys go around, they pull down the trash at nights, and many people just walk by, leave it there. It creates an eyesore, but the attitude is that it's somebody else's problem. Call Andrew Hendrickson at Solid Waste. Call Rudy. Call them. That's a them job. That's a them problem. But it's in your neighborhood and your community. And all of us can go and tidy up, put it back in the trash. We understand. And we can work together to make it better. So I am challenging each and every one of us. It's a matter of civic pride. It is a matter of patriotism, I'll put it that highly, for us to keep our island and our surroundings clean. I have seen a phenomenon that's developing, and I want to speak about it very plainly this evening, where some individuals are using where they live as garages for dumping cars. And in some neighborhoods, they start out with one car and now they got 20 and 30 cars. We will not tolerate it. It has to be addressed. I have said it time and time again that you cannot operate like that to the detriment of others in your neighborhood. I don't know what it is about some people and this collection of vehicles. They have sometimes dozens and sometimes scores, and sometimes it looks to me like hundreds scattered all around them. That is not the Nevis that we want, and we are urging persons to do better. And we will do whatever is necessary from a governmental point of view to enforce the necessary laws to prevent this from happening. I have had complaints from various neighborhoods where people say, oh, this people brought a car here, now they have 20. We need to think about these things and think about each other, because we're in this together. And as they like to say, don't do to somebody what you wouldn't want them to do to you. So let us look out for each other. And because we own a little piece of land or we lease a piece of land or we have a little home somewhere, it doesn't give us license to use our homes in such a way and our property in such a way that we create a nuisance. Yes, that's what the law calls it. I'm not just using the word. The law actually calls it a nuisance, to create a nuisance for others. And it goes back to my oft-stated adage that we must be our brother's keeper and our sister's helper. We must look out for each other and do unto others as we would have them do unto us. And if we did that, then a lot of what we do, we would not do. A lot of the practices we engage in, we would stop, because we'll be looking out for each other. And so I would want to urge all of us to do more to keep our island clean. I cannot end without commending Mr. Andrew Hendrickson, Mr. Rudy Brown, the board at Nevis Solid Waste Authority, and the entire team. They really have worked hard, and they continue to work hard. They have demonstrated what I refer to as country above self. And sometimes they're overlooked. You know, the irony about garbage and garbage collection is that very few of us remember to say thank you when it's being done and done right. But we're very quick to notice when it's not being done right. So sometimes when you see things are running smoothly, it's not that there are not difficulties, but those that are managing well. Let us remember them. And let us remember to say thank you to the entire team at Solid Waste, because they're going around and they're keeping the island clean. Now, I've heard a lot being said that we have sought to put solid waste on a better financial footing by doing a number of things. One, we have increased the cost for garbage collection for homes from $10 where it was, I think, to $25 EC per month. We have used that now, and we have decided that instead of never collecting it, we'll put it on the water department and the water meter instead. We understand that people are naturally resistant to change. We appreciate that. We, however, have sought to explain, and that's one thing about my government. We do not just jump up and do things, we try to explain. And we have sought to explain that the reason for that was to put the solid waste and our garbage disposal and waste disposal on a better footing financially. Every month, the government is still having to subsidize the activities of solid waste. And so the idea really was to put them on a better footing, to say to householders and to business owners that we all have to invest in this essential service. Let me say that again. We all have to invest in this essential service, because if solid waste doesn't work properly, the island can't function properly. There can be no health without proper waste disposal. There can be no tourism without proper waste disposal. And so what they do is critical. The men and women who go out and they're on the trucks, and I see them sometimes at 4 and 5 o'clock in the morning, they're keeping our island clean for us. So when we go along and we comment and say how beautiful the roadsides are and how clean the island is, it's because they're doing a good job. But We have to maintain the trucks, we have to maintain the equipment, we have to pay the ongoing overheads. We have to do all that to ensure that solid waste is viable. And that is why we were forced to increase the rates. And I want to make it very clear that the rates are what they are. They're designed to support the activities of solid waste. And they're still not enough to do that. The government still has to contribute. But the idea is, and I think that that is how sometimes we need to measure it. Are you getting a good service? I think the answer to that is undoubtedly yes. Undoubtedly yes. We don't have the situation that would have existed many moons ago where you see garbage piling up because it's not being collected. We don't even have a situation here as they have in other islands where you must take your garbage to a particular collection point. In fact, solid waste goes to every nook and cranny. Not often in many countries do you have the possibility of the trucks coming right to your gate, right to your house. Every week, 2 and in some neighborhoods 3 times per week to collect garbage. This is what we call door-to-door service. That's what's being provided here on the island of Nevis. Unheard of in many other places, but being provided right here on Nevis. And there are some who think that these services should be free, or it's government, so they shouldn't charge anything. But as I often say, look at the possibility of what it would be like if it was not being done. I don't think any of us would want to contemplate the unhealthy state of the island. What visitors would be attracted here if the island was in an unhealthy state, if we had garbage strewn across the island? And so I think that we need to balance these considerations. We need to be able to say, are rates reasonable? Don't get me wrong. Anytime any rate is increased, people are going to complain. But if you have 30 days in the average month, and you're paying 25 EC dollars for the month, you will readily agree that even on my faulty mathematics, you're paying less than $1 EC per day for the collection of garbage from your household and from your neighborhood. Less than $1 EC per day per household. So if there are 5 or 6 of you in your household paying 25 EC dollars per month, it means that spread across 5 or 6 of you in that household, you are paying mere pennies each per day for the collection of garbage from your household and from your neighborhood. And so it is the same when we had to increase water rates. Mark you, the increase was part of the CDB agreed water enhancement project, because the government of the day, the NRP, had borrowed money from the CDB to start the water enhancement project. We met it in train and we continued and completed it. But part and parcel of that was naturally, how are you going to repay? And a rate increase was agreed by the NRP. But they never implemented it. Politics perhaps, I don't know why. So we came and we had to implement the rate increase, and people say, oh, you increase water rates by 30%. But when you reflected, and when I was able to point out that we were paying $10, 10 EC dollars per 1,000 gallons of water. 10 EC dollars per 1,000 gallons of water in Nevis. And the same people complaining about moving that from 10 EC to 13 EC dollars for 1,000 gallons had no problem buying a bottle of water for $5. Do you hear me? No problem buying a bottle of water that they drink, discard the bottle for $5, but felt that paying 13 EC dollars for 1,000 gallons, that was wrong. And that is why I say sometimes we just have to press on. We try not to be insensitive, but we also have to be fair and reasonable and say, how is the island going to develop and grow? Unless our people are prepared to help shoulder that responsibility. It seems to me that some are of a view that government has a printing press for money, and that we are down in a basement somewhere just cranking out money. That's all you do. There's somebody down there, some team down there, and they got that press running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, cranking out money. Because people feel like everything from the government should be free. I shouldn't have to pay that. I shouldn't have to pay for nothing at the hospital. I shouldn't have to pay for water. I shouldn't have to pay for electricity. I shouldn't have to pay for anything. I don't pay my taxes. I shouldn't pay property tax. Don't charge me any VAT. I should not pay. But these are the same people who are first in line. My road need fixing. I don't see how bad the island main road look. Current keep going off in my area. Water keep going off in my area. Me go up a hospital and the bed up they're no good. And you ask them, well, how are all these things to be paid for? How are they to be paid for? And I think our people just need to be a part of the solution. And I'm not talking politics here, because I understand politics, and you know, those who are now in opposition, they're going to come and they're going to promise all kind of things. They're going to tell you everything is free. Free. They already got to start to hand out free food every week. They have free food somewhere. Free, free, free. That word free. They like to use it. I prefer to use the word responsible and responsibility. And you try to be reasonable with people. But you explain to our people that, listen, to have your garbage collected 2 and 3 times per week at your home costs money. The trucks, the maintenance, the fuel, the drivers, their wages, their social security. It costs money. The landfill, maintaining the landfill. It costs money. To generate your electricity, to generate water so that you have water in your pipes, it costs money. And these are the things. As we talk to people about being responsible citizens, paying your taxes is not only the law, it's also the responsible thing to do, the patriotic thing to do. Now, of course, if you're paying your taxes and you're doing all that, and the government is squandering the money, then that's a legitimate complaint, of course. And that's a debate that we can have. If you feel like your resources are being wasted, then absolutely that's a debate. But if you're refusing to pay and say you shouldn't pay and you don't want to pay, how are you qualified to make noise? Because you're not contributing in any way, shape or form to the livelihood of the country and to ensure that the country develops, because the country needs to run. Now I hear this argument being mentioned in some places, oh, I don't generate much garbage, so I shouldn't have to pay for garbage collection. But that's not the way these things work, you know. If a rate or impost is established by law, then it's established by law and it's payable. You can't say, for example, I will not pay Social Security because I'm too young and I can't claim, or I'm never sick, or I've never been pregnant, so I can't claim, and therefore I will not pay. No, the system is designed to ensure that Social Security continues to collect from the widest group of persons, so that it is in a position to assist persons when necessary. That is the nature of rates and imposts. That is how it works, because that ensures that you have a necessary pool to carry out the work. And in any system, some will benefit more than others, to be sure, but that doesn't mean that the system is bad or the system is somehow wrong, because what we have tried to do is set a minimum, less than $1 a day, to collect trash on the island of Nevis to collect it at your door and dispose of it. I think it was Dr. Douglas who famously said one time about the dead, poof, and it gone. You put out your garbage and the next morning, poof, it's gone. You don't see it. Some of you don't even know where it goes, but you know it's gone from your neighborhood. So let us support our people who are out there working hard to keep our island clean and to ensure that this island remains healthy. Ladies and gentlemen, this is On the Mark, and I will open the lines very shortly. I just wanted to remind the listening public that we continue here on our vaccination drive, particularly amongst our young people, vaccination against COVID-19. And as part of that, we're having some fabulous raffles where if you get vaccinated or if you refer someone to get vaccinated, you can enter. And I'm told we have some fabulous prizes. We have iPhone 13, Samsung phones, we have AirPods, I think they're called. We have I'm told, I believe it was a 40-inch flat screen smart TV, they say, that can be used for gaming. We have gaming gift cards. We have all kinds of really fantastic prizes, and we're hopeful that persons will go out, get vaccinated so that they can win these prizes, and of course refer others for vaccination as well so that you can enter. It is my hope that people go out and participate, and it serves a very useful purpose because it also helps us to be more healthy. It helps us to have the best possible protection against COVID-19. It is true that Omicron has come, and Omicron is very contagious, and people argue with good justification that some who are vaccinated have also come down with COVID. And whilst that is true, the truth also is that those who are vaccinated have the best fighting chance, that their symptoms are milder, their opportunity for spreading and transmission is a lot less, and they are seeing fewer and fewer of those persons hospitalized, and of course fewer of those persons are dying. And so, put differently, if you are not vaccinated, your risks are much higher. And I liken it, the best example I could use, I keep using it until I find a better one, is to liken it to the seat belt that you wear when you drive. Nobody's saying that if you wear a seat belt when you drive, that you can never have an accident and you can never get injured or die in an accident. But what the science shows is that if you wear a seat belt, you minimize your chances of serious injury or death in an accident. Same thing with a helmet that the motorcyclist is required to wear. And because the science is so clear that we have in fact passed laws where if you don't wear your seatbelt or you don't wear your helmet, you can get a ticket. It's a violation of the law. So equally we are saying the vaccination doesn't say that you're guaranteed that you cannot get COVID. You're guaranteed that you cannot get sick. You're guaranteed that you cannot die. Only God can give those guarantees. What the vaccination does, it reduces your risk. And that is ultimately what we're trying to do. If you exercise and you eat right, it doesn't mean that you can't get sick and you can't die. But we know that if you exercise and you eat right, it lowers your risk of certain lifestyle diseases, certain of the NCDs, like diabetes and hypertension, obesity. And so, this is really what we are talking about. And I hear the argument, oh, but look, he vaccinated and he still get COVID. So me now I go get vaccinated. That's not the point. He vaccinated and he got COVID, but what was the effect on him? And you must ask yourself, what if he wasn't vaccinated? It could have been so much worse for that individual. And so let us do the right thing, ladies and gentlemen. Let us go out. Let us get vaccinated, especially our young people. I'm happy that schools have reopened. We haven't had any reports of any difficulties, so I'm quite proud of that. And I think that we just need to continue to do what we know is the right thing to do. Through vaccination, we've eliminated from Nevis so many diseases. So many diseases. We don't hear nobody talking about things like polio. I don't hear nothing talking about measles and yellow fever and all of those things now. Those things are things that we have left in the rearview mirror, and I hope they stay there. And vaccination has had a fundamental role in ensuring that we have a healthier island and a healthier population. It is just about 22 minutes to the hour of 9 o'clock. I'm going to open the lines and start taking some calls at 869-469-1616 and 869-469-1700. Those are the numbers to call if you want to be a part of this show and you want to contribute to the show this evening. The phones are already lit up, so let's go. Good evening, you're on the mark. Hello?
Good evening, Honorable.
Good evening to you, my dear. How are you?
I am great. I hope I'm one of them will win the prize.
Well, I hope so. I hope so indeed.
Happiness is not something you postpone for the future. It is something you design for the present. I repeat, happiness is not something you postpone for the future. It is something you design for the present. Have a great evening.
Thank you very much for that. Beautiful, beautiful message as always. Chosen by you. And I thank you for making the time and being part of the On The Mark family for all these years. Let's go back to the phones. Good evening, you're On The Mark.
Miss Sheriff.
How are you, my dear?
She beat me. So anyhow, good night.
How are you?
I am good.
Yes.
Ecclesiastic 12, verse 13 and 14. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. For God shall bring every work into judgment with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil. Sympathy is going out to all who lose their loved one. Culture, come in next. Good night.
All right, good night. You telling culture come in next. Culture come in when culture want to come in. If culture want to come in, I don't understand this. Thank you, as always, for your scripture, and thank you for calling in. You and I have a matter to discuss. We'll have to do that off the air, but thank you very much, as always. These two callers have been with this show now for the entire life of the show, and they have taken it upon themselves to read a scripture or to send a thought of the day, and I think a thought of the week, and I think that it is really interesting how members of the community see a need and decide that they will fill it. I never ask them to do it. They don't get paid to do it, but they do it from their hearts, and I believe it's a blessing to all of us. And so thank you both very much for your comments and for your thoughts and for your prayers, your scriptures, and for all that you've done to make this show what it is. I am truly grateful for that. Ladies and gentlemen, this is On The Mark. I'm your host, Mark Brantley, and if you're just tuning in, then you're listening to the Eastern Caribbean's only powerhouse, VON Radio, the voice of Nevis. We have had now just about a month of the Malcolm Gishard Memorial Park, Malcolm Gishard Recreational Park, forgive me, the Malcolm Gishard Recreational Park. And I have really not had any bad feedback about it. If there are members of the public out there who have visited, it would be nice to get your feedback in terms of what you see, what you think we can do better. But I have been quite proud, and every time now I drive in that general area, I come around past TDC and I enter that Pinnies area, I really feel like I'm almost in a different place. I want to commend the Honorable Spencer Brand and his entire team at Public Works, my good friend Danny Williams, and the whole team there for the job that they did in widening and making that area there so appealing, ensuring that the traffic flow there is improved, for, of course, the exceptional work done by so many on that Malcolm Gishard Recreational Park. And I can assure the public that we are not yet done, and that the second phase we're looking at, of course, to do all the way going down now to the bars and restaurants on the beach. We expect that there will be some additional bars and restaurants opening because we would want to have that entire area built out and to ensure that we have that whole area into a real high-class entertainment area where our young people can go right from the top of Pinnies all the way down to the beach with the park on one side. We have Belmont Gardens with the shops and restaurants on the other. We have the restaurants down on the beach. I really think that it is a brilliant idea that we've been working on for some time and that we've finally been able to bring to substantial fruition. Let's go back to the phones. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Good night to the Honorable Mark Brantley. Good night.
Good night to you.
Yeah, Mark. Actually, I'm not kind of late, but I got to hear you certain things you were talking about.
Yes.
The disposal of blood garbage and all those things. And you're so right. Because, Mark, let me tell you something, right? When the garbage truck come around down here sometime, come around. So the garbage truck come today. About 2 days after, 2 days after, you know, they come, you know, the place full up of garbage again. The garbage bin full up, all kind of garbage bag around. And people got a problem with that because, you know, the garbage bin never to be family still. And then they call him about it the other week. Lord, they don't chill out. Eh? What do they want us to do? What do they want us to do? Eh? We pay for garbage too, we pay for garbage too. So I want to know what people want in this country. If they want everything free, government makes everything. We're in a pandemic. And you see the government is trying to do everything now. No, the free, they need to know, the testing free. We ain't got to pay for it. And some people just commend the government for what they're doing. They going all around the bush, saying all kind of negative things, just because they don't support the government, or they don't like the government. That's as far as I'm concerned, you know. Sometimes because they don't like an individual in the government, you know. That is the country, you know. They don't mind if the government doing good, you know. But as long as they don't like an individual in the government, they just decide to dismantle everything. Oh, mash up, man. Let's go and mash up. You know? That is supposed to go. So then, but the market want to continue, you know, to do what you got to do for the people who need it and encourage the people of the federation because the vaccine is very important as far as I'm concerned. Last week I could not call you because I had no voice. I had no voice, Mark. To come make something like in the throat, put in the throat. But Mark, anyway, I'm going to take the booster shot and the voice clear up and everything now, so I'm back on track right now.
So the booster clear the voice for you?
I won't try to force nobody to take none because I have no business. My business is me and just me. My girlfriend, she won't take it. She's won't take it. And they're saying that who take the vaccine is them who contaminate the unvaccinated. And my girlfriend come by me, she come, she live with me, but she come by me and me not contaminate my vaccine, she not get the COVID yet. And I know that she can't get it by me because I take my vitamins, I do everything that is right. Drink me lime, me lemon, me honey and everything. And I just got to do what you just got to do what is right, Mark. And don't really ignorant. The countries are us, all of us. And when you try to bring down the country just because I get party, they go back in there. We don't know. And the same thing, the same protocol I got to go to. Everybody, Mark, you have a wonderful night because this one keep you.
All right, brother. Well, thank you very much for that. You said your throat. You said your throat wasn't doing so well, and then you took the booster, and your voice cleared up. So I don't know if there's a correlation. I wanted to ask you if the two are connected. In any event, I will tell you that I took my vaccines. I took my 2 doses of the AstraZeneca, and I went back and took my booster from Pfizer, and I feel great. I really feel good. I believe that maybe that is something they need to do a study on for that extra vim, vigor, and vitality that you get from the vaccines. I really feel good, and I know that we have a task ahead of us. We have a campaign ahead of us sometime on or before March of 2023. And we'll have to get ready for that. And, when campaign time, you have to be out and about. So you have to be fit. And I intend to be as fit as possible. You see, tonight I'm wearing my cap, I'm wearing my shirt, and I'm I believe in a state of readiness, and that is really where we need to be as we move the island and the country forward. It is just about 10 minutes to 9. We'll take some more calls. Good evening, you're on the mark. Hello?
Good night, sir.
Hello, you're on the mark. Go ahead.
Good night.
Good night to you.
Your last caller, I hope you can remember. Sometime last year, he told you he had two relatives in JNF, and he went up there and he healed them. You remember that?
No, I don't.
You don't remember that?
No, he said he healed them?
That's what he said on your program.
I don't remember that. How he healed them? He's a
I
doctor?
remember on your program he said it. I said it on another station. He called back after and he never rebut. Because, he said it.
Okay.
Come like some people that just call your program and chat stupidness and don't know what they're saying. How come he couldn't heal the short last week? How come he couldn't heal the Federation?
All right, well, maybe
I don't know what it is for sometimes.
All right, well, maybe he misspoke.
Anyway, let me carry on.
Yes.
I heard you talking earlier about garbage collection.
Yes.
And it's $25 a month. You say 6 people in a household, but you never mention a bachelor who ain't working. How come you didn't mention that?
Well, so if the bachelor is not working, what you saying? He shouldn't pay for the garbage collection?
But he ain't working, especially in a time like
But
this.
I'm asking you, what are you saying? He shouldn't pay? Is that your point?
I'm saying it's not fair.
What is not
Fair
fair?
across the board, it's not fair. And
So-
hope you don't spill over down here and think it.
So let me ask you this then. If you're a bachelor not working, you're not paying to collect your garbage, so leave you with your garbage then.
It's across the board, it's not fair to be charging people for collecting garbage. That's what I mean to say.
But why is it not
Don't
fair?
tell me what I'm saying.
But I'm asking you. You know,
But I tell you what I'm saying, it's not fair to be caught
But why is
charging people for collecting garbage.
but why is it not
fair?
Why is it not fair? That's what I'm asking you. Don't the
I
people?
just say I hope it spill over down here. I'm calling from St. Kitts.
Caller, let me ask you
And it's
something.
not happening down here, far as I know.
Caller, let me ask you something. Don't the people who work at solid waste have to be paid?
Everybody has to be paid where they work.
Don't the trucks have to be maintained? Doesn't the landfill have to be maintained? And if the
Everybody
garbage
has to
and
be
if
paid
and
where they work.
caller, hold on. If the garbage isn't collected, do you agree that the country will become unhealthy and unsightly?
You see the reason why I call? Because when I'm calling from here, St. Kitts, I tell you something about the nasty drain and people getting paid every week. The nasty drain and people getting paid every week.
Yes.
I said call and talk about that.
So
I cannot defend wrong. How can defend wrong?
So you're saying the
I'm not
drains?
living in News, I don't know what happened up there, but I say it's across the board, it's unfair. Look here, where I live.
Yes.
I don't generate no lot of garbage to fill the bin that they give out down here. So I rest them on the bin cover. Might be 3 plastic bags, 4 shopping plastic bags. And when I come out, 2 might gone and 1 left. They come so hurry. They take up 2 and left 1. More than 1 time it happened. More than 2 times it happened. What kind of, what you call it? How I could congratulate them for what they're doing. They're doing a nasty work.
But you're not
I'm
paying.
an old man. I just see them walking people here and pull up the garbage.
But you're not
The
paying.
garbage side of the road now and you come like the hard you want to take it up.
But you're not paying.
You look like it's who you be.
But you're not paying.
Not as far as I know.
So
Somebody has to tell me that.
You're not paying and you're still complaining.
Because they're working. I tell you, I live in this, I live in St.
No, I hear you. I
And that's
hear
why
you.
I support what you're saying.
I'm just trying to get the right. So I understand what you're saying. But I feel that once the rate is reasonable, that is the question for me, that these are essential services that should be paid for.
But you mentioned it's 6 people in a house. You didn't mention if 1 or 2 in a house.
Yes, but if you 1 or 2 or 6 or 10, the rate is reasonable. And
Why you jump quite up to 6 and you didn't say 2?
okay, so if you prefer to use 2,
2 in a house and only 1 working then.
okay, 2 in a house and only 1 working, but you're still generating garbage, which has to be collected.
And I think something I wanted to talk about that slipped me too.
Okay.
Something I just spoke about.
Well, when you get to something else, call back in, okay?
You spoke about it earlier, but true I'm so upset with this one here with the garage. That caused me to forget what the other one was.
Well, when you remember, call back in.
I will listen. I always listen to your opening statement.
When you remember,
You only because you saw the third caller. I call to remind you that he said he went up the hospital and healed relative there.
Healed relative. Okay, well, I don't remember that, but if you say so, I'm not going to argue with you, okay? When you remember the other point, call back in, okay?
Thanks for hearing.
Okay, my brother. Take good care. And, well, this caller is quite passionate that he doesn't think he should have to pay for garbage disposal, but as far as I know, everywhere in the world pays for garbage disposal. In St. Kitts, you're right, caller, because in St. Kitts, the system down there is that some monies that are collected from the cruise ships, that is the money that is used to run solid waste in St. Kitts. The problem that St. Kitts had, of course, is for nearly 2 years you didn't have cruise ships because of COVID. And then solid waste down there ran into some serious financial problems. So whether or not that model is sustainable, that will be ultimately for my brothers and sisters on St. Kitts. Nevis has had a different model. And in Nevis, we passed a nominal cost onto the householders. And so, you're right, caller, I could have used an example of 2 people in the family, but even if you use 2 people in the family, it means that those 2 people are paying less than 50 cents per day for garbage collection. Now, you tell me anything, and I mean anything, caller, that you can get in St. Kitts and Nevis for less than 50 cents per day. You certainly can't get food for that. You can't get drink for that. Maybe the air we breathe, if you go outside and you breathe it. But other than that, nothing else is available to you for less than 50 cents per day if you lose the 2 people in the household. And yes, the argument that people are not working, that's why you try to make it reasonable. But the notion that people should not pay, the question then is, well, who will pay? Because it has to be paid for. Let's go back to the phones. It is 2 minutes to the hour of 9 o'clock. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Yeah, good evening again, Brother Mark. Good evening again.
Good evening to you.
Yes, Mark, I am a spiritual child.
Yes.
I believe in God. I come up in my father was a Christian-minded man, used to preach. And I went to Sunday school and another Bible in a kind of way. You know? So I just try to follow Bible instruction. That's why the Lord has blessed me so good. I ain't said that I heal nobody, Mark.
Okay.
What happened that I have a sister, Anissa Moyes. She just finished her house. And when she moved, she got a mental breakdown. And I went up the psychiatric ward. And I went up there and I prayed for her. And God answered my prayer. I answer heal nobody. God answered my prayer. I had a sister, similar, was in the hospital. I went up there and I prayed for her.
Yes.
And God answered my prayer.
Yes.
I am not a healer. Only God could heal. Jesus Christ could heal. So, today, when he called in the program, I never know it's me that thought it means somebody else. And that's why the Lord has blessed me so good. Because, let me tell you something, I never work with the government because I don't individually give me nothing. God give me wisdom and knowledge and understanding to work for myself. And I never work with the government and nobody who work in government to individually get nothing from the government. I am a hard working and entrepreneur, work for myself in this country. And that's why I get my living from, work for myself. I used to be in the construction field. I cut sugar cane. I work in the hotel industry. I do many work in this country. So, right now I have some animals and I will want some land to me animals them to the pan. And you know you pan away that cost nobody, cost the government. When I'm ready, I just do what I got to do. And maybe sell them out or whatever because I'm getting old now. And me put it so good. You understand? I ain't got to come on no radio, come cost no government, or cost no politician because me no get this and me no get that. And that is why I get upset for. You understand? I'm a God-blessed child. And who don't believe in the Bible and want to follow Bible instruction and the business that I got to stretch away on there. And I make sure I show something in the collection plate. And what I do, I pay my tithes. I give in the school, give in the infirmary, and give some unhelpless person something that you want to do in this country. I don't keep everything for myself because when they're done gone, I can't go with nothing. But I'm not clever when they put it again, God bless the federation. I think it needs. That's why here God is blessing me so good. Me not going to heal myself, God going to heal me. All right, put him up.
Okay, well, thank you very much. And, you know, I, caller, will confess that I don't recall you coming on and making any such claim that you healed anybody. You have sought to clarify now to say you prayed for your relatives and that your prayer was answered. And we do know that God answers prayer, because if he didn't, then what really would have become of us? So I believe that you have sought to clarify, and for me that is satisfactory, and I hope that the caller who called before, who sought to suggest that you had anointed yourself as the healer, that caller would now be satisfied as well, and we can put that to rest. It is just about 2 minutes past the hour of 9 o'clock. It means that we are now entering our second hour of On the Mark, and we are inviting your calls. 869-469-1616 and 869-469-1700. Let's go to the phones. Good evening, you're On the Mark.
I am back. Let me clear myself.
Yes,
Me
sir.
never say nobody tell me anything. This program I don't listen for myself. Me don't take what nobody tell me. And I told you what he told you and one your program last year.
He's saying that he
I
didn't.
lie. Maybe the Lord struck me here tonight where I am.
Well, you don't want the Lord to
But I
strike
show
you.
up.
Yes.
I could tell him at where he is presently talking to a better half than him. Me never cause a government party. Me don't want to find out behind government. Me don't want to find out waving here and waving there. Not me. Me never cause neither the government before nor the government now. Not me for nothing. Me no got a thing when me live to say, Sam give me this, never give me that, you need to give me this. So it can't be me talking to. If he understand what he's saying, he must be talking about somebody else. Me in a government job presently, and me also want to find out, me in this job here, since 2007. So if I also want to find out for the party before, I don't think I'd be here today, because that is our politics. So, from 2010, I'm still here, in the same job. So then what he's talking about,
Okay.
probably so I want to find out whether I got the house today, but becoming I run behind nobody. So then he gets his talk clear. When he talks about going to find out abusing government.
Okay.
Government abuse.
All right. So, hello. So you and the gentleman have had your exchange now. So I believe that's enough. Okay.
Well, I have to make myself clear.
Okay. So you're very. Caller, you're very clear. I don't know that the gentleman. Caller. You're very clear. I don't know if the gentleman was talking about you when he said that. He tried to clarify this thing about healing. Okay. So let's caller. Let's leave it at that. Let me ask you. You know the gentleman? You know the gentleman?
Yes, I know him.
Okay. So if you know him, go look for him tomorrow and talk to him. Okay?
Me must call for him.
Yeah. You don't need to do it on the ear. All
I
right.
just called to claim myself. I can't bow down to the
Okay.
level.
All right. Thank you very much.
Myself a coffee shop.
Okay, caller. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So I'm suggesting to these two callers, you all meet down 4th Street, and you all, shake hands and have a little drink, drink some jelly water or something, and relax. This show is not a forum for people to get at each other. This is not the forum for that. It seems like there is some thing happening here, which really is unnecessary. You called and you said the gentleman made a certain claim on the air that he had healed some people. The gentleman called in to clarify that is not what he said, and he sought to clarify. He then made some other comments. You say that he's talking about you, or you hope he's not talking about you. Well, let's hope he's not talking about you as well, and let's hope that his comments were general. I don't think there's any need for anybody to get hot under the collar over that. So that will be the last word. Nobody has called back here on the mark. Go back and forth again. If you all want to engage with each other, go 4th Street tomorrow morning and find each other and engage down there. 5 minutes past the hour, we're taking your calls. Good evening, you're on the mark. Callers, please try again. Let's try this call. Good evening, you're on the mark. Okay, we lost that as well. 869-469-1616 and 869-469-1700. Those are the numbers to call. We suggest that you call in and you continue to be a part of this show. Now, I am hopeful that our friends and family in Canada and the United States, I was going to wish that you all are having a warm night tonight, and in the UK as well. My daughters are in the UK, so I'm praying that they're warm Someone sent me a message saying that they were wearing socks and long sleeves and all kinds of things, long johns, because the place is cold. That is one of the reasons I live in Nevis. I will live nowhere else. I pray that God allows me to live out my life here, because I don't understand this cold weather concept. And I figure if God wanted me to live in a cold country, He would have created me an Eskimo. I'm not an Eskimo, I'm a Caribbean man, and so I need to be here in this land of sun and sand. That to me is very important. Let me go back to the phones then. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Yes, good night, Mr. Brantley.
Good night to you, how are you?
I'm fine.
Uh-huh.
I heard you praising up Mr. Hendrickson.
Yes.
And your opponent said on a radio station in St. Kitts that the solid waste manager needs firing.
Who's my opponent?
You, Wendy.
Which one?
Your cousin.
Oh. Well, I don't know. I mean...
Yeah, only telling you, eh?
Yes.
Good night. All the best to you, eh?
All right. Thank you
God
very
bless
much.
you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. I really don't know why it is that would-be politicians, I have to call them would-be, because I don't know yet if they're going to make it to nomination. But would-be politicians, because of whatever personal grouse they may have, and I use my words very carefully, because of whatever personal grouse they may have, that they're on a constant rampage of attacking people. Now, I challenge anybody, and I hold no brief for Andrew Hendrickson. Everybody know Murray. Murray is a friend of mine, but I am not speaking about him as Murray, my friend. I am speaking about the job that he has done. Murray used to be a driver at Solid Waste. And years ago, there were all kinds of problems at Solid Waste, and we know what the problems have been. Sabotage. A whole tire bale over there was burnt. Truck sabotage. All kinds of problems at Solid Waste. And whatever else you want to say about him, you have to give him credit that he has come on board as the manager of that institution for the last few years, and he has done a good job. And I don't really get caught up in all the hype, because doing a good job in solid waste means that you're picking up the garbage and the place is clean and the solid waste is running and running effectively. The problems that we have in solid waste, for example, the landfill is past its sell-by date. That is not Murray's fault or the management's fault. That is something that has happened over the years. And they continue to do an effective job, drive around our villages and our communities, absent the donkeys pulling down garbage, and our own people who throw garbage out on the sides of the road from time to time. Murray and Rudy and all them are doing a good job, and I will stack them up against anybody anywhere else, because I travel to major cities in the world with big budgets, and they're not as clean as Nevis. So why, if you want to get elected and represent people, you're telling people how poor St. John's is? Everybody up here poor. Well, if everybody poor, they're poor, we're going to give them something to help them. We're going to open a little business and employ one person, sell 2 Freco, so that some little boy or girl could make $1 out of you. Help the situation. No. St. John's is poor. Nevis got 30-something% poverty. What book that come out of? I was just down in St. Kitts in the federal cabinet, and there was a discussion about poverty rates, and nothing to all go so. So you tell people how poor they are, how bad things are. Anybody in a position criticize them. They don't know what they're going to do. They don't know what they're doing. Incompetent, must be fired. And you see, that is part of the problem. But it's an NRP problem, It's an NRP problem, because I remind us all, and I will not tire of saying it, that as far as NRP is concerned, nobody in Nevis knows what they're going to do, except them. And if you want any proof, the tapes I'm sure are going to surface whenever a campaign starts, of the leader of NRP, the premier of Nevis at the time, saying that when Nevisian youngsters come home from university, they don't know what they're doing. All in a vain effort to defend the NRP's position of giving all the work to a foreign firm, spending all of our money with a foreign firm. And when we in opposition cried out for the little man with a truck, the little fellow with a backhoe, and said, Lord, they're Nevisians, they must eat, the response that came from the NRP, when they come back, they don't know what they're doing. I gave them a road to do in brown pasture. Let them go up there, practice, learn how to drive. I do not believe there has ever been a bigger insult to the people of Nevis than that commentary. That to me worse than the alleged Bratcher comment about bones in your rice and pepper in your soup. Because that was our own telling us we are not good enough. And you see the tradition continuing. Nobody is good enough. You know what I find is ironic? We went through a process with the Nevis Tourism Authority to select a CEO. When they did all interviews and all that, those who were involved in the process selected a lady. I believe she's originally from Barbados, Miss Jadine Yard, to head the NTA. Big hullabaloo! Oh, foreigners, we bring in foreigners. We went through a process to select the manager for the Malcolm Gishard Recreational Park. And when the process was gone through, someone was lived on Nevis, I'm told, for nearly 20 years, has his home here, has been in horticultural and plant business and nursery and management and all of that for well over 20 years, emerge as the person whom those doing the interview, not me, those doing the interview said was the preferred person. He was not born here, but he lived here, I'm told, nearly 20 years. Oh, foreigner, get job. And I am being accused that I only give foreigners jobs. That's what they say. And you listen to the foolish rhetoric. Listen to it. Because on the one hand, you take one or two situations where somebody not born here is selected as the best person for that job because they applied and they went through a process. They weren't handpicked. And you criticize this government, say, oh, we like foreigners, that's why we're giving foreigners the jobs. But when the scores of Nevisians, trained, qualified, are put in position, same set of people turn around and turn on them with a rampage, or they don't know what they're doing. When they come back from university, they don't know what they're doing. Now, what is Andrew Hendrickson's sin? What? He's not perfect, but which of us is? I believe Adam, first man, was perfect, and even Adam sinned. And then we never saw perfection again until Jesus came. And we have not seen it again since Jesus left. So we know that leaders and leadership and those in positions will not always get everything right. We know that. But we who say that we are for our own people are always first in line to condemn our own people. Well, which really is our true position? It's like I hear this NRP say that they are in favor of women. We are led by a woman and it is time for women to rise in this country. And I agree, even though I'm not a woman. I agree. Women must play their rightful role and lead wherever. Politics, business, law, medicine, it does not matter. But you cannot say that you are pro-woman. You want women to succeed. You want women to excel. You want women to lead. And then when a woman, Latoya Jones, is given a position as an advisor to the government, y'all take off she clothes every day. Tear her to shreds every day. Well, what is her sin? Is she not also a woman? And that is why I'm saying that the narrative from the opposition in Nevis is so foolish. I don't know if that language is on radio like, but so foolish, so nonsensical, so stupid, so dotish. Because I don't understand how you could be for women, but only for some women. If you're NRP, then I'm for you. If you happen to be a woman and you're not with NRP, then you must be crucified. And all kinds of things and man of evil said about you, because somehow your womanhood is not the same. Similarly, you're for divisions. But any division in a position, look how they criticize the task force in Nevis. Got nothing good to say. But those who have given human service, who have gone beyond, above and beyond, demonstrated what it means to put country above self. They got nothing good to say about them. Oh, they have no training in epidemiology. They're not this, they're not that, they're not the other. But what are you doing to help? The answer is not a thing. Not a thing, but now you all in your rocking chair, retired and collecting pension. Come back now, go tell Nevis people, me love you long time. Me love you, love you, love you. Me love you long time. And we got all these ideas and oh my God, I know what the solutions are. But you've lived a life till 60 and not bring no solution yet. You know they got poor people out there, but you don't employ one person. You never said to a young man, let me help you out of your poverty. Let me give you a little scholarship. Let me assist you in some way, shape, or form to build somebody. No. You say, look how poor you are. Look how poor your family be. Vote for me. That's how the thing work. There are a lot of things that are said about me, and people are hold on for me one more minute. I'll be with you shortly. There are a lot of things people say about me. But who I have not helped yet is who I haven't yet found. The other day I was speaking to a young man. A young man I know well. And the young man said to me, Mr. Brantley, I will never forget you. I said, what do you mean by that? And he said, when I was going off to university, you gave me a certain sum of money to help me. And you know why I felt good? I felt good because I didn't remember. You hear what I say? This young man was talking to me, and the young man said, I will never forget you. And when I asked why, he said, because when I was going off to university, you gave me a certain sum of money. And I felt good, my heart was full. You know why? Because I remember. I did not remember that I ever helped that young man with a thing. He was the one telling me that I helped him many years ago. And it tells me that you help people you don't even, because you do it from your heart. You don't even remember that you do it. So sometimes I hear some of them now up and down and, oh, you this and that. Who may not help yet is who not born yet. Because I have tried. So when you've lived a life of engaging with people, helping people, and you know why I do it? Because I grew up poor. And many people help me. There's a lady who's now our Deputy Governor General, Vera Liebert, her honor. Hope she don't get upset with me and fire me tomorrow because I use her name on the ear. But she used to have a little car, and her husband teach her mother a little car. And every once in a while they see you on the road and they give her a little lift. There was a neighbor that I had in Brownhill, Christine Springett, was the principal at the Charleston Secondary School. Sometimes rain falling and Mrs. Springett would stop and give us a little lift. Because we had to walk from Brownhill to Charleston to go to school. and walk back home in the afternoon. I know what poverty looks like. I know what it feels like. And people used to help me. So that is why I help people. Because they have this thing about, they call it paid forward. When people have been good to you and God has been good to you, you pay it forward, you help other people. Here we have a set who don't help nobody, who not interested in nobody, who wait until them reach retirement and collecting the pension. Suddenly, them love you a long time and they have all the ideas. And along the way, they criticize from pastor to priest. They criticize from cook to bottle washer. They criticize everybody. Nobody in the world got no sense but them. They trained in everything. But yet at the end of the day, they can't show one person that they've uplifted. One person that they've helped. Well, if so much poverty in the area and so much poor people there in areas, it is not enough for you to say there's poverty. You must then go on to say, what are you doing about it? What have you lived a life doing about it? And if the answer to that is nothing, then it means you're a mere commentator, and commentary is easy. I could sit down and watch cricket in the park and comment and say, beautiful shot. Can I play the shot? The answer is no. Me can't bat. Commentary is very easy. Doing the work, rolling up your sleeves. And if after a lifetime of work in this country, you ain't got no trophy to show, like King Connery say you must have your trophy, but we're going to wait till now. When you're collecting Social Security to go show trophy, is now you're going to wait? Let's go back to the phones and take some more calls. Good evening, you're on the mark.
I'm on the mark?
You are on the mark.
Good evening. The lady, when she don't read the scripture for you, she said, come in culture. But she ain't following the protocol. She ain't tell me put on my mask before coming. But she could tell me come in. Well, Brother Mark, I'm going to tell you something. I hear listening the program as usual. And these last comments that, you the way they're disturbing through the phone, no?
No, we're not hearing the radio. Go ahead.
Okay. I mean, that is so ugly. Let me use a word. To see people who are aspiring to be in a government, in a government, just to get where they want to go. They got to go down so low, below ground zero, to cost people. You don't do that. You on the platform and you tell people, well, okay, I see them fixing some roads over the side of the country, and they're not doing a good job. And I think they could do a better job if they would only take some advice from me. But now they're going to abuse and say, oh, they don't know what they're going to do, they're wasting money. They're going to say, well, they make an effort, but you could do it better. They're going to abuse and cuss and all kind of derogative language they're going to use just to see they get how many persons they could get to turn against you. Instead of they come in and tell the people, well, okay, that's all right, man. Give them a break, man. They mean well. They're not deliberately doing it.
Yeah, but culture, here's my issue, right?
Yeah.
I don't mind you cuss me. I put myself in the way for cuss. Because once you take up yourself, say you're a politician, you recognize you're going to be scrutinized, you're going to be criticized, that is life. That is democracy, how we practice it. I don't have a problem with that. What I do have a problem with is when you have conscientious public servants who go out there every day and do their best. And you have people who say they want to be politicians. And their best approach is to attack those individuals.
Mm-hmm.
That is my problem. Attack me. Say what you want about me, because my back broad. As I'm saying, broader than Broadway. Right? But why you keep going after people in these? You're attacking the man who's the head of solid waste.
Mm-hmm.
You're attacking the person who's the head of the task force. You know who not got training, who not know what they do, who whatever. As if you are some kind of expert in something. Because some of them have majored in failure. You know what I tell you?
Yes.
Some of them, when you look at the expanse of their life and you ask, what have you achieved in your lifetime? They say the only thing that I have ever achieved, the only thing that I ever accomplished is failure. Nothing else. So you want to know then, why have they anointed themselves? Man, work with people. Sometimes you see a man there, he may not get it right all the time, but you can give him a word of encouragement. Because you and I know that this ain't nothing called easy in life. You and I know that there are situations sometimes that are challenging, because the first time your water go off, you start to cuss the man them in the water department. The first time your current go off, you cuss Kellek, you cuss Nevlek, you cuss the manager. The first time you trash and pick up, you cuss the man at solid waste. He will not always get it right, but he's going out there every day, sometimes when you're asleep, and trying his best. And instead of sometimes giving people a word of encouragement, you could only jump on them and kill them and criticize them and this and that. As if you can do the job. As if you have the answers. When you have lived a life which shows you have no answers at all. You just come now in the winter of your years collecting social security and tell people you want income. You want a salary, so elect me. Because what else they coming for?
They want pension.
But they don't get in pension.
They want double.
They say people poor. Well, if you know people poor, culture, if you know your neighbor hungry, and you go and come on radio and go and talk show to say your neighbor hungry, I'm going to ask you what you do to help feed your neighbor. I think that's a fair question.
Yes.
But if the only thing you could do is every day you say how hungry your neighbor be, when you not help, you're part of the problem, not part of the solution.
Right, that's right.
So if a man say he knows that there's poverty in the community, my question to you, you do something to create a little job? You say you got all this university education. You are the brightest person God ever make. Well, let me ask you something. You ever open a little Freco shop? You know what we call Freco culture?
Yeah, man.
Them thing you go scoop, and you take the ice and then you throw in some red syrup, some color water in it.
Yeah.
And some of them will tell you that they have a jobs plan. They have a plan to employ young people in Nevis. But them now work themselves. So you ask the question, if you have a plan to employ others, how come you can't find a job? And how come your plan to employ others can only work in government? Because you are a private individual and you can't open a little Freco stand to give two youngsters in the community a little wage every week.
You see, them kind of comments there, them they like what Cartridge send down here to tell about cow jump over moon. Cow jump over moon? Well, if cow jump over the moon, well, why America them spending so much money to get rockets to carry them up in space? Why they don't get the cattle and jump on the back and go up since you're free? Because they think, these here who cussing people, telling people they will give them a job. They think people are stupid. No, people aren't stupid like once ago. People have more wisdom. They can't fool people with them nonsense. Come with an issue to help build up the country. And that is why you see, Mark, it does get me, it does vex. When I hear people trying to bring down, mash up something that is good, and there are people around sitting down and they know the accusation that such persons are casting on those who are doing good. They know the accusation is far from truth, it is misleading and it is fake, and they will not get up and defend the right of the person who doing good. Now look at you. You are the leader of the country in Nevis, the NOA. And you have a good team, a great team behind you. You're working hard. And you don't hear people throwing kind of weapons to mash up the NOA. And before they tell them, boy, you're doing wrong, I gonna come after you too. I gonna intercept your weapon when you leg after the NOA because they're doing good. And they do not need to be shut down by you with your negligence and your stupidness and you no issue. Let me commend the Deputy Premier, Mr. Jeffers. That man is so great. And Beaufort's been down here dormant for years upon years. And from the moment he stepped in, Beaufort's elevated for admiration. And you know the reason why? Because his name is Pepper Seed, Hot Pepper Seed. And so from the time he took over Beaufort, he pepper was so hot that he burned all the weed them. And he was able to plow up Beaufort and have it now like an agricultural how a place supposed to be. So congratulations to him on what he has done in Nevis with the new park that you all open. and you could expect more things from him because he has vision and he put in his action by his vision. I'll come back, Brother Mark.
All right, brother. Well, thank you for that. And certainly in relation to Alexis, I don't have any fear about him because he's a hard worker. He and I became friends since we were in sixth form together, the Nevis Sixth Form College. And we have been friends and partners and workers together since then. A lot of people say what they want, but Alexis and I came into politics and into CCM in 2006 after CCM had lost. Let me say that again. After CCM had lost, we came in. And it's not easy when you join an organization in opposition. And we fought in the trenches, shoulder to shoulder, tooth and nail, rolled up our sleeves and went to work for this party and for this island. And through the grace of God and the support of the people, here we are today. So I don't gonna light no candle to look for he, because he's a worker, a hard worker. We know in government when you want something done, you tell Alexis, go and do it. You want the pay over the bill, Alexis, go on. You want the Newcastle police station bill, Alexis, go and handle that. You want the kitchen up at Joyce and Livewood Primary School bill, Alexis, you go and handle that. If you tell him to go and do it, he's going to get it done. And I, therefore, don't even study with them when they talk. I remember they used to call him Bulldozer. And I said to myself, why are they being so disrespectful to Alexis? Alexis tell me, boy, me glad when they call me so. Because people use bulldozer to build. That's important. A bulldozer is an important piece of equipment. When you're building, you can create things. You got to clear the land. You got to... And I said, well, I never look at it that way. Let's go to the phones. Good evening, you're on the mark. Hello?
Good evening, Mr. Brantley.
Good evening, you're on the mark.
You're in aggressive mood tonight, man.
No, man, just warming up.
What have you been eating today?
I took the vaccine, the Pfizer booster.
Oh, I see. I took one, but never got so aggressive.
You never got so aggressive?
No.
Well, maybe nobody trouble you, that's why.
Yes, this opposition lady who mentioned that Nevis, or who said that Nevis, the rate of poverty is something like 30%. Did she mention as to what she would do to turn that around?
Well, what do you mean what she will do?
How would the NRP turn that around, reduce that level of poverty, as she says, to maybe 10%?
I really don't know. You're assuming that there's a plan to turn it around. Maybe there isn't.
But yeah, because as I mentioned in the previous call to you, I've heard them talk about all these capital projects, but they never give any details, any inkling as to what they plan to do. They just throw these fancy-sounding words and leave it up there hanging in the air like a sky, like a kite. It's remarkable.
You know, there are old saying that talk cheap but whiskey costs money.
I know. Black label especially. On another topic, though.
Yes.
You mentioned that the present solid waste site, they had met its sell-by date.
Yes.
Where do you plan to put a new site for your dump?
Well, that's an excellent question, and we are looking at various options and possibilities. There's an ongoing debate, frankly, as to whether the correct approach is this traditional approach, I would call it, or whether instead we should be investing in better waste management and better control of the waste that we do have. For example, there's currently no recycling that's going on the island. There's currently no separation out of reusable waste or waste that has value. There are other mechanisms that can be employed, waste to energy mechanisms such as even things like incinerating waste, because the incinerators now are very environmentally friendly, some of the newer models. So the question that we are, and we are having a fulsome discussion in that internally, is really whether we go to create another traditional landfill, or whether what we instead do is to try to manage the waste more effectively. Right? So until that debate is concluded, I wouldn't be able to answer that, to be honest.
No,
I think that probably what we'll end up with in Nevis is a kind of hybrid, where you have the traditional waste disposal, but you also now introduce waste management techniques, recycling techniques, etc. In fact, I think I can say that the Taiwanese have been assisting. They actually have an expert who's now embedded here in St. Kitts and Nevis, assisting with this very question of what we can do about waste management and to be more effective and efficient.
Now, when you spoke, I thought it was a dire emergency, that the waste had been flowing into the street and that kind of thing.
No.
The site.
We're not at that stage yet, but the site, they always give the site a life.
Yes.
Meaning that they will say, well, this site should last 20 years or whatever the case may be. We have gone beyond that lifeline. But we're still using the site, but there are various other things. For example, I don't know if now you've seen St. Kitts that they have a company over there that has been collecting old cars, crushing them and exporting the metal.
Yes.
Well, that company actually started here in Nevis.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, we had contracted them and brought them here to Nevis, and they were doing some work here. But I guess St. Kitts is a bigger market for them, and so we understand that. But we have been working with them because that is one way, for example, to remove all of these abandoned cars, not only from the landscape and from people's yards and things, but also from the landfill.
Yeah.
Then we have another problem with tires.
Oh, yes.
Thousands and thousands and thousands of tires, but those tires have value. If you can bale them and export them and send them out, they have value. Things that are recyclable, things like plastic and all of those, plastic bottles and all of those, if they can be recycled or repurposed, I think that is the way that we will have to go now, rather than just the tradition of dumping waste every day, cover it with dirt, dumping some more, and then 10 years later you got to find another site.
Okay. A quick note there. Where we are with the geothermal?
Geothermal, really, what we have had with geothermal is the age-old perennial problem of investors, people who come, who bid and say they have the resources to develop and then run into difficulty in terms of raising the money.
Oh dear.
That has been the perennial problem. We at Christmas last year, I thought I would have had something to announce because we're in the final stages of negotiating what we thought would have been the final package to get geothermal on the way with a company that we thought could deliver. We have had some issues there, some renegotiations are taking place, so that has been delayed. But I am committed to geothermal, the government is committed to geothermal, and I think what we need is just the right partner. We know we have the resource, we know the resource is viable. We have had the assistance of the US government, we have had the assistance of CDB. I think all of them point to Nevis as having an excellent resource.
Yeah.
But the question has been one of the money to develop it. That has really been the bugbear, so to speak. And so we are trying to resolve that issue, and I think we're very close. But on geothermal, I have said there have been so many false promises that I have not engaged in promising anything on that. I have said, let us see how it goes, and when I have something to report, I will report to the public.
Yeah. I know a fellow in Nevis, named Mr. Brantley. He don't have enough money to do that?
I don't know him. I have met him myself, but if you can send him my way, I'm pretty sure that he and I can have a conversation. He might be able to assist.
I'll send him to you.
Yeah, what your name is?
Mr. Brantley.
Brantley?
Yeah.
Well, that's an unusual name, I think only one family I know of in Nevis with that name.
Have a good night, Mr. Brantley.
You take good care, brother.
Okay.
All the very best to you.
Okay.
20 minutes to the hour of 10 o'clock, we're taking your calls. 869-469-1616 and 1700. Let's go back to the phones. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Yeah, I come back here after my friend here.
Yes, brother.
Yeah, that's a good idea about the recycling of a lot of things on the solid waste. About 37 years ago in St. Thomas, I realized that there was a badge that comes to St. Thomas every month, and it collects a lot of crushed old vehicles, flatten them, and take them back to Puerto Rico, and they recycle them into whatever. And I have also learned that there's an island in the Caribbean who takes plastic, like plastic bags and light plastics and whatever, and they mulch them up so fine, and they mix them with asphalt.
Yeah.
The colors, yeah, to make the asphalt, and they mix up everything. And when they pave the road, well, I mean, you know, you could feel the difference because it has the plastic mixing in the colors.
Mm.
And I mentioned that some months ago, but I don't know if my input meant anything.
Mm.
But I'm waiting to see. But a lot of things on the solid and the dump, you know, it can be what we call it there again, the word we just used there. They can be recycled.
Recycle,
You like take for instance a lot of old board and wood and so, you know, if you have them chip up fine. I've seen them in America. They use the chips of wood and they put them in gardens around plant.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and also they could chip them up so fine and mix them with a lot of the topsoil dust on the landfill, everything, and then you have good fertilizer for plants.
Mm-hmm.
That is a good idea, you know, rather than just dumping everything and building up, and then going to look another new place to put on trash. That's the old way.
Well, that's my thing, and you can't continue that. Otherwise, a little island the size of Nevis. Everywhere gonna be a trash heap soon.
You're gonna have to go make a trash in your water, a trash land.
Exactly. So I think that we have to use technology. We have to move, and that is the direction in which we're headed.
That's right.
All right.
You know something? 1984, when the news came down in the Leeward, in the Caribbean island.
Yes.
And the news came down 1983 that there was a disease exists called HIV/AIDS.
Mm-hmm.
There was a barge going around in New York for months, full with garbage. Nobody wanted them to dump in the area. And it was going around there, and then they had a lot of big political talk about it. But I don't know where it ended up. So we don't want to reach that stage where we don't have no place to put garbage. So let us recycle what we can recycle. And the only thing should leave back over there is the earth. Brother Mark, you have a good night until next week, God willing.
Okay, my brother, and thank you for your contribution.
As long as I'm alive, as long as I am alive, I will always defend CCM and the unity construct.
Thank you, brother.
I will not sit idle by and hear people bringing down the country, bringing down the NRA, not the unity government, and keep my mouth shut. I am here for that purpose. Thank you, brother Mark.
Well, thank you, and thank you for your contribution.
Okay.
And every week you contribute, and you bring us quite some, sometimes mirth and merriment with your songs, and them especially where you like the bus. So thank you for that. The phones are ringing, so let's go back. We have about 16 minutes left. Good evening, you're on the mark. Hello?
Greetings, my beloved brother. How are you?
Hey, I'm good, man. I'm good. I haven't heard your voice in a while. How are you?
I'm good. I'm here, man.
Yes.
Holding on, you know?
How's New York?
Now let go. First, let me say, man, happy belated Earth Strong, my beloved brother.
Thank you.
Yes, so all is well?
All is well. How's New York? Is it cold or warming up a bit?
Well, today wasn't really bad, you know. It was like 20 something.
20 something isn't bad?
2 weeks. Huh?
Is it 20 something isn't bad?
Well, for me, I spend most of my life, beloved, but in this country. So, you know, when you spend your life in a certain climate, your body develop, you know, immunity and them things to it, so. but it's all good, beloved. Yes, beloved. Beloved, you know, when I hear about agriculture, man, and I hear this new minister, Brother Jeffords, man, doing some great things in Nevis and some greater things in St. Kitts, beloved, Brayfords and other things. But, and you know, I'm going to keep saying this, but it's not enough money is allocated for agriculture. Let me repeat that. Mr. Prime Minister, my beloved brother, hear me, and I told you this on 2 occasions on Patsy's program. You need at least 75 million. And the money is flowing as it used to, beloved. So, you know, I am a considerate brother. I say at least 50 million, man. But when you're going to go 15 million, no man, 20 million, and then, you know, you guys supplement you put the other 10, 20. that is not enough.
Mm.
Come, brother Brantley, I've been speaking for over 15 years. I said, listen, that before COVID and everything, you know, I said, listen, my people, if the boats them stop coming, the garbage, and it's garbage, like you rightly said, I keep saying, you don't know what they're sending down there. It's garbage, all of this spray. You buy a tomato, you right overnight, and that, no man, them kind of things is not right. And when you bring these garbage inside the St. Kitts Nevis, beloved, and give our people all kind of cancer and this and that and all kind of other stuff, brother, it's going to wreak havoc on the health system. So, if we eat mostly organic food as possible, brother, I mean, I'm a vegan guy, 46 years, beloved, but I am not everybody and me, beloved. And everybody gonna go vegan lifestyle. But if you eat animals, that is grass, cows and goats and sheep down the line, that is grass-fed organically, beloved. You won't get all of these poison inside there, those hormones, and when people eat them, especially our young females, beloved, they start getting, you know, breast and all kind of thing at 8 years, 10 years and them kind of things. No. And the bodies them just shooting up is those hormones. But so if we plant organic, eat organic, all farms, food, beloved brother, that will take a lot of burden off the health system and it will go a long way. So if you spend, say, $100 million on health, in the health system, when we use organic food, beloved brother, could bring, you will still drastically reduce the burden in the health. So it will just come down probably about 50 million. Therefore, the 50 million, you could do something else, build new high school, build new elementary school, fix up, you know, the infrastructure a long way, beloved.
Mm-hmm.
New modern hospital, beloved. So, Mr. Prime Minister, again, let me take some man, let me get from his supplementary budget and pump at least 25 for now and prepare for next year. Because you got a minister there, Minister of Agriculture, man, who have vision, who are serious about agriculture. Give the brother the tools, because you can't build a house without tools. You could get the most brilliant ideas, and you ain't got the money, the tools, and everything else to do that. You cannot. So, Mr. Prime Minister, do the right thing, man. Do the right thing. And anything that is mass-produced, beloved, don't give no importation license to anyone. And you can't bringing in those things, $100 million each and 25 years in prison. We got to get serious, Brother Bradley. We got to get serious, man. You know, we must get serious when it comes to agriculture. And who knows how long this thing gonna last? Who knows if we're gonna get some other thing worse than, you know, the Delta variant? Who knows? We don't know. So we got to be prepared and not be like a headless chicken and a fish out the fishes out the water. Brother, thanks again for hearing me. Keep up the great work. Beloved brother, Pan-Africanism our purse. Well now, beloved.
All right, well, thank you for that. And as always, yeah, man. Yes, brother. Good to hear you. And
good, man. Good.
Yes, man. And keep up the good work.
You too, beloved.
All right. I always love the way you end Pan-Africanism or perish. You know? All right. 10 minutes to go. We're taking your calls. 869-469-1616 and 1700. Let's go back to the phones. Good evening. You're on the mark. Hello. Hello.
Yeah, Mark, good night.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Yeah, Mark, let me tell you something, right? I just tell myself, right? The kind of person I be, right? If I put myself in politics, if I will mislead. Because, Brother Mark, let me tell you something. I'm a very giving, sharing person, and I always like to help. Since a couple of a young boy. Sometimes me farm club, you know. Me farm club, cricket club, football club, and all those things. But these young men together, we organize this whole thing back in them time. Look, you know, you have case in the church of Kenfield, you know, get the Kenfield, and then the Korean program here. Mark, let me tell you something. At age of 25 years old, right? Mark, I tell you something. That when I started work when about 15 years, Mark. I went into the construction and started from school. I'm out of school in construction. And brother Mark, when about 25 years, you know, my mother had 14 hours.
What?
14 hours, yes.
Wow.
Brother Mark, you know, the 14 hours won't be around. Everybody from one branch out big answer because I come in the last, me, I was my father, my father said, you know, the father was from Morris. And let me tell you, brother Mark, they had a two-bedroom house. And brother Mark, me get 10 years to do with my 6 brothers and my sisters, they were living there. Because I was here between me for 6 hours. And brother Mark, let me tell you, the little money me save at the age of 25 years when I started work from 15 years coming. I clean the bank account just to get the family to get room, you know. And they go to the basement downstairs, from downstairs they live me one, because I always have intention to the thing. And in there, I put a 6 bedroom house, Mark. Brother Mark, and I got to love that because, you know, when men come big, family come big, man and bigger man, they want to bring in the man and their life. And in situation get better, when the brothers are to fight, I can get best and out of one of them. And I decided I want my own place. And brother Mark, I got to love what they invest into. And the people after movement, they were giving out some of 1992, and I get one. I get one. And brother Mark, I so successfully work hard because there was some host from the Venezuela government. They hook up with the Holland thing also. And I successfully almost built over 2013. I think 2013. I almost built it over. Put on the bedroom some more, the front room some more, and fix it up and do what I do. And I comforted myself. Well, I believe that I the kind of man maybe, like giving me and I was like this, you know, to contribute to this and contribute to that. You know? I must have the millennium. Well, Mark. And I said, I never do my to me because I was things you know? Because you can make any want to work to somebody who maybe went to university, who graduate this in graduating that and graduating that. We come from the graduation, we come from the early school, Trinity early school, and I just try to work too hard for myself and do what I got to do. So I want these young men and women with the skill they got. And then, you know, to try to help themselves, look at trade. Because Mark, I work at trade, you know. When I was 15 years old, I went into construction, and up to I was going to trade. If somebody want to call me, come run some block, put in some windows or do something to them, I could go and do that. Again, sometimes I could go and do that. But I don't do it like before, because, you know, you need to put it in one now. And that circulation, I mean, you're going to be in trouble like that. So I don't really put up maybe the construction anymore. You know? So, but I'm not life, man. Life, we got to make life ourselves. And you're back, you have a wonderful life, again, the God, the generation of 20 years. You're doing well.
All right, brother. Well, thank you very much. And, you know, you have given your story and what you've done in your life, and I commend you for the progress you've made. I think you said you're a giving person, you keep giving, and I think that that's important, that we keep giving, we keep helping other people, because so many have helped us, and that is what God has put us here to do, to help each other. It's 5 minutes to the hour. Let me go back to the phones. Good evening, you're on the mark. Hello?
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
How are you?
I am well, thank you. How are you doing?
I am well, thank you. Just wanted to say good evening to everyone. And this quote is, whoever renders service to many puts himself in the line for greatness. Great wealth, great return, great satisfaction, great reputation, and great joy.
Thank you very much for that beautiful thought. And you have said what I've been trying to say, but you said it successfully. So thank you.
You're welcome. And I would also like to say good evening to my former boss at Four Seasons, Mr. Mackie France. I did have a chance to catch up with him sometime in the week, and you know, it's such a joy to have heard his voice. So I just want to say good evening to him, and I hope everything is well with him. And also to my Four Seasons family, I miss you guys.
Okay, well, thank you very much for that, and I am sure they miss you as well. And I tell you already, you know, it's only a matter of time. You'll be back. Take good care. I hope you're not too cold in New York.
It's cold, but we're managing.
Okay. All right. Give my regards to everyone, please, and my love.
I will. Have a good evening.
Okay. Thank you so much. It is 4 minutes.
Bye-bye. Good night.
Good night. We have had some good calls tonight. Nobody from Canada calls me anymore. I don't know why they treat me so badly there. I know we have listeners there because I get messages from Canada all the time. But certainly our friends and family in the U.S. call, our friends and family in St. Kitts call, and certainly, of course, the people here call. We have about 4 minutes left. If it's persons are still available to call, they can call in. We probably can take one more call. But ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank all who have called and all who have continued to make this show what it is, to continue to contribute to this show. And we propose to be here on Wednesdays from 8 to 10 to continue this very rich tradition. I think On the Mark has become part of the socio-political tapestry of St. Kitts and Nevis. And for us, that's very important. And perhaps when that inevitable end comes for me, they may say that I contributed something through this show by providing a platform for persons to engage with each other and engage with the world. I would, as always, like to thank Daniel Brantley, a firm of attorneys at law here, who have sponsored this show all 15 years and who make it possible for us to be on the air. I want to thank Weber Herbert and Von Radio, who have given me this platform and allowed me this opportunity all these years. I like to joke and say that I started when I had black hair, black beard. Now I am gray. But I am still here through the grace of God, still have the necessary vim, vigor, and vitality, and still prepared to serve. And I have with me an excellent team of committed individuals who are dedicated to this island and to this country. And for me, that is invaluable. And so when I come and I say, this is who I am. I'm an open book. I have lived a life among people. I've lived a life helping as many people as I can. I've lived a life uplifting people. And whilst, of course, I have my detractors like everybody does, I believe that I have tried my best and I will continue to try my best. Let us not be weary in doing good. And let us not get concerned when we have detractors. Because let us remember that a perfect man and God's Son was crucified, and that's Jesus Christ. So if they could kill Jesus, well, who am I? So let us just continue to do our best, understanding that not all will appreciate, not all will be grateful, not all will remember. But you don't do it for the likes, you do it for the love. And so that is why we're here, that is why we're committed to public service, and that is why we're committed to growing and developing the island of Nevis and the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. That's our show. The banner struck up. It means we have to go. The show is rebroadcast tomorrow at 1 p.m. right here on Von Radio. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being a part of this show. I look forward to being with you again next week, same time, 8 to 10, right here on the Eastern Caribbean's only powerhouse, VON Radio. Thank you, good night, and God bless you.
Views and opinions expressed on the preceding program were solely those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Nevis Broadcasting